Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Good morning, 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 and welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris. It is the 10th day of May. It was Mother's Day weekend, this past weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms and grandmoms and aunties and all of those females out there who live the role of mom every day or have. And to those who have gone on, we still honor them. I have 2 that have passed on. Well, probably more than that of the 22. I don't know the count, but nonetheless, what a great weekend. How was yours? What did you do? Put it in the comments. What is your highlight takeaway from the weekend? What was the best thing that happened with you, for you, to you, through you over this past weekend? I want to know. Inquiring minds, also known as nosy. That's me. Put it in the comments. Seriously, I'd love to hear about your joy. Today is a great day in the neighborhood. Why? Because we are here fulfilling the promise of the universe that where 2 or more of us come together. Doesn't say that something wonderful might, could, should, perhaps, who knows, might happen. No, it's guaranteed. It will happen. I'm one. Ask yourself right now, am I that other person to fulfill this promise? I think you are. So listen, what did I do over the weekend? A lot. Had family here. 3 of my nieces from Los Angeles were in town to visit my sister who lives just not far from here for Mother's Day. So we had a big thing here at the house. It was so nice. I mean it, you guys. It felt more like it used to be than ever before since the onset of COVID. So it was really nice. Everybody but the children had already been vaccinated, which was a lot of, okay, you know what I'm saying? It was really, really nice. I know for myself personally, I am going to do better with my in-person relationships now that I really um, understand how important they are. I mean, I did before, but not nearly as I do now because of COVID and that forced separation. So keep that in mind. That's the bell of purpose. What it means is every time you hear it ring, somebody here, somebody, one of us, myself, the guest, you have put in a comment, have said something. We've got something out in the atmosphere that we want each other. Ethel and Lucy are running through here like a herd of horses. What is it when cats start doing that? That's, I mean, good Lord, girls. So anyway, yeah. So, well, they made me forget. That was not a senior moment. That was a distraction. I don't claim that one. I don't receive it. So anyway, Bella Purpose covered the, help me welcome to the show my sidekick. She's my version of Ed McMahon. That's right, my warm-up gal, Miss Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. And we switched coffees for this week. We opened a new bag, and we are now drinking, hold on, wait for it, maple something. That's all I know. Oh, wait, I taste cinnamon maple something. I got a ton of them for Easter in my Easter basket, all kinds of flavors. So there's that. Oh, and I want to tell you a couple things that I'm doing in case you want to do it with me. Listen, you remember, I think it was last week. Yeah, last week, one of my guests was Guy Berlando, the Southwest Airlines pilot and also a retired military fighter pilot. And he wrote this wonderful book, Discovering Your Authentic Truth. I started it. Well, I'm not too proud of how much I read, but you can see, in fact, I did start it. And I'm going to let you know as I get through that what I think about it. But what is going on? He gave me a free sample, and you can get one too. This thing, this water, you take one capful of a day. I've been on it now for, well, I've had it for about 2 weeks. I think I got it before he came on the show, and Brian and I both are using it. We take one capful a day, you swish it around. It's called swish. You swish it around your mouth, then you just drink it down. It reduces inflammation. It has CBD in it, relieves pain, supports anxiety relief. That's what I want to talk to real quick. Healthy skin, clearly it works. I'm just kidding. Better sleep, anti-aging. That the jury's still out on that anti-aging, because when I wake up when I go from this to this, you're gonna know, right? So anyway, it is organic, has 90 essential vitamins. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, because you don't see me do this too much, it's called Sealy. See, and I'm gonna put, if you want a free sample like we got, there it is. Go to swishsample.com and get your free sample. I am not kidding you. I don't really take my ADHD meds like I should, because I don't know. I don't like pills. If you can't grow it, my body don't know it. So I'm trying to put things in my body that it can recognize and do something with. So anyway, all weekend long, just as zen and clear. I'm telling you, it's working. I'm going to give it the 30-day trial, and then I'm going to let you know exactly, because I'm keeping a logbook of what it's done for me. But enough of that. He's been here before. His son has been here before. I'm hoping to get another one of his kids here before too long when the time is right. But he's here because he's been busy since COVID came in. I think he was here back at the beginning of COVID or somewhere in there. He'll tell us. I'm speaking of author Aaron Brooks, who was here before. And since then, he's sat down, put the pedal to the metal, and written a book. I see it all over LinkedIn. I don't know if you're on LinkedIn. You've seen it too, because there's no way to miss it. It's everywhere on there. And we're going to talk about that today. Let me tell you about Aaron first, though. Aaron Brooks is the first in his family to have an advanced college degree, graduating from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign with his MBA. He's now the Vice President of Strategic Accounts for Compass Marketing, which is located in Annapolis, Maryland. Now, in this role, Aaron spends his time with C-level executives. We're going to find out what C-level is. You know, who are the A-level ones? Elon Musk? I want to know who C-level is. He helps them accomplish their strategic goals. He's inspired by the power of sincere relationships through his father's example as he started his own business over 50 years ago. Aaron believes in helping everyone he meets through living a sincere lifestyle, personally as well as professionally. Now, that's the title of the book, Sincerity. That's some small writing on there. The recipe for living your best personal and professional life. Okay. Now he lives outside of Chicago, Illinois, right here in Chicagoland, with his lovely wife, 3 children, and 2 golden retrievers. He's a photographer, videographer, and a huge fan of live music. So without further ado, you guys know how we do it. We put our hands together, we put our hearts on the screen, but more importantly, we pour our hearts into this hour. Let's pour into each other and see what comes out the other side, shall we? Here he comes, Aaron Brooks. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Lauren. How are you?
I'm stunned because I'm looking down at your one sheet and I was like, I know I don't see my name in his one sheet. And because I really didn't read the whole thing, I read the top because I was picking my questions. And it says favorite stories from the book to tell and discuss. And lo and behold, I'm number 2.
Yeah, you like that? See that?
I'm in your book.
Yeah, you knew you knew that you were in my book.
I forgot, senior.
Yeah, that's okay. It's all right.
You know what? Really? You told me?
Yeah, you're a sincere guy, so I guess you are in the book. I even sent you the story to read.
Wow.
That's okay. I covered my bases. But yes, Lauren is in the book because Lauren is a sincere person.
Thank you.
We do sincerity here. That's what it's all about.
We really
but
do.
I'll explain more about that. Really, very quickly, C-level executives. So
Yeah.
chief marketing officer, chief executive officer, chief chief financial officer. So all of the chief officers, those are often referred to as C-level executives.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that because I was going A, B, C. I didn't realize.
Sometimes when it's a vernacular that you're just used to using in business, and sometimes I think we assume that people are going to know the
that's better.
The way that we shorten things, and I think sometimes we need to back it up and clarify what we mean. So
back that thing up. So Aaron.
Yes, good to be here this morning.
I got to ask you a question
on a Monday morning.
Yeah, you saw I just put some of that. It's anti-aging. It's just some kind of shea butter stuff my niece makes. But I got to ask you, do you get ashy? Do white people get ashy?
What do you mean by ashy?
See, I knew you didn't know. See how I was like all gray and dry looking?
No, unless it's just the lighting, because my light died last night. So these are I had to improvise with stage lighting today. So I'm working off the 2nd tier stage lighting. I'm hoping
it looks great. Now I got to be honest with you. I don't remember all of this big mic. Oh, that's a creepy head.
So no, the big mic, the new mic is new. I'm trying to somewhat. We've been here in COVID for a year, so we've been living through connecting through a screen. So, so I bought a mic, and I didn't get a green screen yet, but I am in I'm borrowing my son's room for my office and for studio if I'm doing that type of thing for now.
So
and it's just been nice to.
Yeah, you've come a long way in a more than just a new mic and setup. Now, so much has happened in your life. You're like a guy who's always on the treadmill of life, just constantly walking it out, jogging it out. And I want to give you an opportunity here. Tell us, since last time you were here, were you working on the book last time and just keeping it under?
No, it was a concept when we first talked. So at the beginning of COVID, I've wanted to write a book for a long time. I thought the book was going to be about networking. Until I started writing it, and then I realized it was not a book about networking at all. It was a book about sincere relationships.
So that, you know what that is, right, Aaron? And I'm gonna just put it out there because I love it. It jumped out at me. It is not about networking, and you might remember I said this when you were here.
No, I remember the first conversation we even had after Kim Flaherty connected us where we connected about the fact that it was not at all about networking.
It's
And
about working the
I
net.
was searching for what it was really about. I knew, but I was searching for the way to tell the story. And I think you even said something along the lines of it will come to you and it will come through you. And it did, to be blunt. So it's a pretty special thing. I mean, I received the actual physical copy of the book yesterday.
I saw you opening it,
and
you were ripping that Amazon package open.
I will tell you, I didn't think it would look. I mean, everything came together in the physical. You know, it's just it's anyway. It's really an amazing thing the way it all came together.
Tell people about that, because you know what? There are a lot of people who have things and they leave them here. They, you know, that's why I love it. That's why I love the Wall of Purpose, because the minute you write something down, it changes the narrative. It takes it from being a dream to being something tangible.
Right, well, first of all, I talked about writing a book for so long to so many people that I backed myself into a corner. You know what I'm saying? So, which is fine. The other thing is, I met someone who was life-changing, and we have these moments of time, and I've met a lot of people along my life that have been life-changing. You've been one of them. I write about a lot of them in the book. I write about the fact that we as we're meeting people throughout life, we need to be thinking about it through a 360-degree lens. And I'll explain what I mean by that.
Okay.
But the whole process of this book coming together was really about, you know, I wanted to write a book for a long time. I had a book in my head for a long time. And about a year ago, beginning of COVID, as I was networking, quote unquote, with a bunch of people, I met somebody named Terry McDougall. Terry had been an executive chief marketing officer with Bank of Montreal's investment banking group, and she had written a book. I did not know that when I first started talking with her, but I was telling her all of the things that I thought I wanted to write a book about, which I had spoken about as it related to networking and relationships and those types of things. And she got all excited and she said, "You have to write this book." And I said, "I don't know how." And she said, "I can show you how." So she introduced me to a group at Georgetown University called the Creator Institute that was started by a professor there named Eric Kester, who is a professor of entrepreneurship. And he through his process, and then a publisher called New Degree Press, they published over 500 books. And they literally teach you how to write a book.
Okay.
And so I went through this process and
okay,
well, this.
Okay, great. And good for them. I'm happy for them, but I'm ready to get into this.
Yes.
Because here is something right off the bat. Lori Whitney, she put it out there. And this is what a lot of people believe.
Yes.
And then you get some people say, "Oh, I wrote a book in one weekend."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right. So now your book, how long did it take? And did you think, is this why is this one of the reasons maybe it took so long to get it out? Because you thought it would take longer?
It wasn't that. Honestly,
wait a minute. I didn't even finish my comment, my question.
it.
Yeah, see, that's because he see what happens when they get best-selling books. See, y'all, be ready. I'm kidding. No, but I want you to talk to that, because there are a lot of people that are sitting where you were a year, 2 years ago, that don't know how to put the key in the ignition and turn it to make this thing a reality like you. So talk. That's real, what she said. It takes years to write a book. She didn't even put a question mark.
Yes.
So she believes that. What do you say about that mindset?
So it took years for me to develop the material in my head, but I really don't think it did. I think I could have written this much more quickly. I didn't know how to write a book. It wasn't that I didn't have the material to write the book. It was that I didn't know how to write the book. So there are people that start in this program that they say, "I want to write a book." And then in the program, they come up with the topic, they research a topic, and then they write a book about that topic. So it's about learning the process. So once I started the process last June, I started working with them.
Not even a year ago.
Correct. I turned in a first manuscript of 25,000 words on October 31st. The book is about 40,000 words, I believe, if I'm not incorrect. So it evolved from there.
So wait a minute. You turned in 25,000 words.
Correct.
And the book ended up 40,000 words.
Correct. Yes.
So people think that when it goes out to somebody, usually it ends up smaller because they edit, cut, but yours got bigger.
Mine got bigger because as I edited and added and ensured that all of these stories that I had written and gathered, yours being one of them, all of these stories, that they came together into a thesis and supported this thesis of developing great relationships and the importance of developing great relationships, not just the transactional relationships that people often develop, particularly when doing business with people. So I wanted to ensure. So for instance, Lauren, many of the people that, we met through a mutual friend, and now we have supported one another. I'm supporting you. Certainly I'm passionate about what you do on this show, but this is also a business venture for you, and I support that.
Yeah.
Right. And so you find your guests through networking, quote unquote, whether you realize it or not, but it's really through sincere relationships and people that you've gotten to know well.
And that's why I say, for me personally, I don't network. I work the net.
Right. I don't like the word networking. I talk about it in the book. It's overused and underdefined.
And people, what it does for me, what it did to me is it conditioned me, it groomed me to just go through the motions. Correct. Go to a mixer, look a certain way, have a process for collecting cards in one pocket and giving them out from the other pocket. If I want to meet somebody or follow up, fold the card in half, and all of this and all this. And I did meet a couple good connections or friends from it, but I never monetized. I never made a penny from one of those cards that's still over there, right there. I leave them there on purpose so I don't slip back into my old ways. 3,000 cards.
Yeah.
Not
well,
one
remember,
dollar.
In our first, actually, when I was on your first show, you pulled out, or when I was first on your show, I should say, you pulled out a bag of cards and you put them on the desk, and you said, and that's the first story I tell in the book. Lauren dumps a bunch of business cards on the desks and says, I've met all these people. I don't remember most of them, right? Because what I call macro networking, okay, is going to a big event. By the way, we're not doing this right now, COVID, and who knows when we're going to. And when we do, are we going to be comfortable shaking hands and all of those types of things? I mean, everything is changing now, right? So in macro networking, it's uncomfortable. There's a bar on each end of on each end. You're trying to juggle your drinks and your hors d'oeuvres and your business cards and which people did you meet in which pocket and all, and it's craziness. Micro networking is what I recommend in the book. Micro networking is, I met Kim. Kim and I hit it off. We got to know one another. Kim said, "Oh my God, you have to meet my friend Lauren. He's got a great show. You'd be a great guest." You and I met. I introduced you to my son. My son has been on your show. Yeah. I've been on your. That's micro networking. That's and you can call it networking, you can call it connecting, you can call it relationships, you can call it authenticity. At the end of the day, it really comes back to building sincere relationships with people of love and trust. And I don't mean to be cliche or hyperbole, because it's very real if you make it real. So but back to the question of how long it takes to write a book. This took up until October to write the first draft, and then from there I worked with a revisions editor. So at first I worked with a writing editor, basically, to write those stories or to gather those stories. I learned how to even write stories. Okay, there's 7 different story types that you can write. There's so there's and they're very cliche. It's like, you think of like somebody being saved, right?
The hero's journey, all that.
Exactly. The hero, the journey. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm having a bit of a senior moment this morning.
It's okay.
Yes, those are the ones. And they're ones that even movie writers talk about. They're the things that capture someone's attention when they're reading something, right? Or interacting with a story, right? So you learn how to do that, and then from there you build these stories out, and mine wound up being about 40,000 words, and that's about what turns into about 180 words, 180 page book, I think.
Right, which is meaty. which is meaty. And yeah, let me ask you something. You have so much good stuff inside this book and inside of what you're doing now. Let's talk about a couple of the things that are important to you,
Sure.
and that you say in your one sheet are there, the catalyst for this thing. First of all, let's talk about being a giver and still being successful. Why would a person think that being a giver, let's say, you know what I mean? Why is that something that has to be pushed? Isn't that something you think people would automatically get?
As far as being successful by being
Yeah,
a
that
giver?
when I'm being of service, it's going to be, I'm
It's
blessing people in
interesting.
the manner I want to be blessed.
You would think.
You would think.
And I'm in corporate America. It's almost like when you think of business deals, often, and I've experienced this. I've worked in high level consulting. I've sold those types of services before. I've been in the room when big deals are negotiated and such. And I've always become friends with the people that I'm negotiating with, so it never felt like a hard-nosed negotiation, right? Sometimes when procurement groups get involved, it becomes very adversarial. It's one side against the other side. And it becomes a sales process. It becomes transactional. In other words, this person's trying to get as much as they can for as little as possible, and this person is trying to give as little as possible and get as much as they can. And that becomes transactional, and that is not how long-term value is created,
right,
in people, and that's not how even long-term energy is created.
Have a
right?
great
So,
day.
I now, as we sit here today, I now work with the CFO of my current company, which is a total shift from where I used to work. Okay,
Right, you didn't work there when you were here last. That came after.
It's a total shift, and I would have never wound up doing this had I not maintained long-term relationships. And it's somebody I cold called 18 years ago. That's our CFO, and that's how I met this company. So this is very real stuff. And I wrote this because of my passion for seeing what great long-term relationships had done for my father and our family, personally and professionally, in his business, and people we now are still friends with that we were doing business with 30 years ago.
Well, that's how the small business backbone of this country was built.
Exactly. But that often was not brought into corporate America. Those values.
Okay, I'll wait. Go ahead.
No, I was just so those values of giving and being successful by giving are often not rewarded in corporate America.
Exactly. And now most of us, a lot of us, not all of us are from corporate America. Some of us are small business owners. And I think that for the entrepreneur, the solopreneur, it is important to remember where that platform began. And that, like I was getting at a minute ago, that is the backbone, and it has always been the backbone of our country, starting with bartering. And that's kind of what, bartering falls to the wayside when you talk about what you just did, whereas when people come in with an angle, you see, and it's, one eyebrow, suspicion raised. That is a totally different approach to doing business. And so next thing is, what is this thing when you say, and I find this interesting, you said that you believe the concept is that every person we meet is actually two people.
So here's what I mean by that. So we typically people have their home life and their home friends and those types of things, and then they have their work life and their work friends, right? And often people keep those separate. So if you work in corporate America, often you have to put on even almost a different persona when you go to work just to be successful. Can you be yourself and still be successful? So often you can't be, right? So what people often do when they are trying to sell things into corporate America is that they try and create value for the company that they're working with. So they're selling to people in a company, and they're ensuring they're creating value for that company. And let's say they're successful in doing that, and that's great, right? But what about those people that they're working with? What about creating value for those people? What about ensuring that those people are meeting the right people, so over time they can ensure that they have extended employment? So, for instance, today our statistics, I should say, that anybody in a manager level or so and above in corporate America will be in a role for 3 to 5 years. before they switch roles. There's a lot of movement in jobs these days.
Mhm.
Okay? It used to be you'd start with a company and you'd stay with that company for 20, 25, 30 years and you retire. That doesn't happen anymore, right?
Thank
So
goodness.
how are people finding jobs? How are people finding opportunities? It's through other people.
Right.
And that's what this book talks about. And the two people angle is that what I've always done is I've always said, okay, yes, I am selling professional services to C-level executives, and I'm delivering them and ensuring that those deliveries go well. Those projects go well. But I'm also building relationships with those individual people and ensuring that those people are meeting people that I'm meeting. And that builds a whole next level of a relationship.
Okay, and that's where I want to go next because it ties into the title of your book, and there are people on here that work with me and coach with me, and you guys, you can put in the comments, it's true. I always say to people, it starts with getting to know each other. I used to hate the term cold calling back when I was a telemarketer in the 80s. Cold calling. I mean, why couldn't it be called warm calling? But think about it. Cold calling means there's nothing out there. But then when you get a warm introduction from a person you know to a person they know, that's what makes the difference. Yes. So talk about that cold and warm. So because a lot of people, because hold on, it's part 2 of this. I'm gonna get off the screen and let you run with it.
Sure.
Talk about, because it ties into sincerity. So tell us, how can you be sincere when it's someone you don't know from Adam, and turn it into a warm introduction or a warm first time,
Yes, great question. So most people are used to cold interactions. So when you suddenly warm it up and you don't just talk about it being warm, but you actually deliver on it being warm, it changes everything. So what I do is I lead with asking great questions about what one is really trying to accomplish, personally and professionally. Okay. And then from there, nobody accomplishes anything on their own, and no companies or no entities do business with one another. It is people in those entities and people in those businesses that do business with one another. So therefore, we all need to meet more people over time. It's also people that we become friends with over time. So if we are enabling and we become enablers and connectors for other people and evangelize around the importance of that, and then we deliver on those connections, Lauren and everybody, it really truly changes everything. And then suddenly people, now we want to be clear and find a balance between being blunt and being and such, that we're looking for mutually beneficial relationships, that we're looking for introductions too. But if we provide them first and we explain the importance of that and make them sincere introductions, our lives will change. And the book talks all about all types of examples of that.
I agree 100, 1,000, 1,000,000% with that, because when you said the thing about being blunt, I was writing it down as you said it, because I have found when you have a great relationship, it's just like people who get married, or live together before they're friends, just because they slept together or whatever, they like to party together. And if you don't start with the friendship, you have nothing to go back to. There are people who are divorced or separated, best friends today, because they realize they're better friends than mates. And they had something to fall back on. I believe that to be true in business, but it all boils down in my world to this word: respect.
Exactly. And establishing.
I'm not done, because of this. When I was working in business without a relationship already in place, and I was guilty of this myself. If I needed to do something as it was a business decision, and I was like, I don't have time to explain it to you, don't take it personally. It's just business. It was an okay thing to throw out there, not worrying about how it made the person feel. And you really shouldn't feel slighted, but you know what? That doesn't change. That doesn't negate how it leaves that person feeling at the end of the day, whether it was my intention or not. So
yes.
where I wanted to go with that is this. You also say that we need to become a center of influence in our professional area of expertise and our communities. And so talk about where you were going right there, and then tie it into this if you could.
Absolutely. So if you think about a year ago, a little over a year ago, right? Suddenly the world shut down, and it's how are you meeting people, right? How are you, finding people to talk with and jump on a call with? If you're selling services or selling something, how are you finding customers, right? You're not able to go and see them,
No.
right? So what being a center of influence means is basically if you're, for instance, a real estate agent, if you're Christina Cash, CC, right? That's
Oh,
somebody
you
we
know
happen
her?
to know in common. Yes. If that's, we know, Lauren, I'm out in your world, man. Anyway,
I love
so
Cece.
but she's awesome. But and the reason she's so good, she's a real estate agent, by the way, western suburbs of Chicago. Actually, she sells all around Chicago.
All over the world.
Little plug there. But here's why she's so good. Part of the reason. First of all, she's a wonderful person. But second of all, a center of influence is when somebody realizes I'm the center of a hub. Okay. And in that hub, as a real estate agent, I might need a contractor. I might need a mortgage broker, or my clients might need a contractor, a mortgage broker, a painter, an attorney, right, for the close.
Sure.
Those are the things that my client might need. Now, if I'm smart, I'm going to surround myself with those types of people so I can refer them. Now, they, at the same time, are going to have people that come to them and say, you know any good real estate agents? And they're going to say, yeah, I do. You got to talk to Susan.
Yeah.
Right? So this is being a center of influence. Now, if you're a transactional center of influence, well, that's fine. You can do that. But then you're like everybody else. If you become a sincere center of influence, okay, it changes your world. So what I mean by that is you become a center of influence and you're not thinking about how you can transact business with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking about how you can sincerely figure out who those people need to know so that they can live their best personal and professional life, right? Because none of us want to transact business with people that we can't trust and that we don't know.
Right.
We've all been in that room where it's you're sizing each other up and it's, do I trust you? Do I not? It's like when you go buy a car, right? We don't like to be sold to.
Push.
This is, if I say this is great, I think this is gold. I think you can tell me. Nobody likes to be sold to. Everybody doesn't mind buying well. So if we help people to buy well, they will feel comfortable in that experience. One of the best ways of helping people to buy well is knowing them, and if they trust you, they're gonna say, "This is Lauren. He's not gonna
Right.
mess me up in any way."
Proof is in the pudding. Your father in business 50 years.
Exactly.
Where today the average business starts to go out of business and fails within 5.
Absolutely. Yep.
So that tells you right there. Well, what were they doing 50 years ago that someone today is not? And I believe it's exactly what you're talking about in this book. So, in your opinion, Aaron, what is the best way for people to get started in their journey to build the most sincere relationships possible?
So first of all, there's a lot of people that get frozen. And the first step is to do it. And there's a lot of people that might say, oh, well, I'm an introvert. I don't do that well. But then I get with them one-on-one and they're the life of the party. And when they're with family and friends, they're the life of the party. So first of all, I don't believe that people are as introverted as they necessarily think they are. But even when they are, you need to get out of your shell and act a little bit like an extrovert. Now, one of the things that the book does, besides telling stories and being philosophical about the importance of this, is it gets into some of the framework of doing this. Okay. In other words, how do you do it? What I find is a lot of people wax eloquent about the importance of these types of things. And then it's, well, show me how, right? Okay. So the way you start to do this is you look at who do I know personally and professionally, and who should know each other.
Good point.
Right? And when you start to connect those dots, and if you're a professional, there are sites like LinkedIn, right? Even if you are, or Facebook, to find out what people are up to and start to connect dots. Even if you are in small business, a lot of small businesses are on sites like LinkedIn and listing and those types of things, and ensuring that they have their personal brands out there. So when you find out what people are doing and you start to figure out where those connections should be,
Mhm.
and you become that connector, others will help you to connect with great people, and your life will change.
Makes perfect sense. I'm looking for there's so many things that I know we can all benefit from this that you guys are just gonna have to get the book, and I'm gonna show you how to do that before we get out of here. But Aaron, let's jump ahead a little bit and ask, what advice would you give to folks that do not have a large network but that need to get started, and how do they get started? And I'm gonna give you a two-parter, and I'm gonna skip out again. So
Sure.
there's that one. And then what about people in corporate? Because I have a couple coaching clients that are in corporate, and their biggest challenge is that they can't be themselves. Everybody dresses the same there. I live down the street from the Amtrak here in the suburbs, and everybody that's coming from the health club, I see them marching across the crosswalk to get on the train to go to the city. They're all wearing black. They're all carrying the same kind of case. They look like they're cloned.
Yes.
And I remember when I worked my first corporate job was American Express in Boston, and I couldn't last 6 months because I couldn't be a clone.
Yes.
I just didn't feel right.
Yes.
So talk about these two different people that we are. How do you incorporate? Say you have a good sense of humor, but you work in a corporate place, corporate environment where nobody has a sense of humor. So you have to hold back your greatest asset to fit in. What do people do when they're backed into a corner?
That is a huge part. Thank you for that question, Lauren. That's a huge part of the reason why I wrote this book, because I have been in those situations where I didn't fit. And I almost say that people have to put on their business mask so that they become this different person, but then they're not feeling great about themselves while they're at work and all of those things. So the way that we find people that we're going to be comfortable with is by building these center of influence groups. And so what I did at the beginning of COVID, and anybody can do this, you don't have to be in professional services or selling professional services to do this type of thing. I put together my own center of influence group, or executive connections group, I call it. I pulled 15 or so people together that I know. I bought a Zoom room, which is $15 a month. And I spoke on a particular topic for 4 weeks in a row. One week was how to network. And you don't have to speak on a topic. That's not the point of this. So let's leave that out. I spoke on a topic for 20 minutes or so, and then we discussed that topic. At the end of the day, we discussed a topic. Okay. And the topic was something of interest to everyone. And there was a reason to be on the call. But more importantly, it was 15 people that had never met each other, that now had an opportunity between meetings to go off and get to know one another, because they'd now seen one another's faces, right? And I have brought them together. So since I brought them together, since they all know me, they all somewhat feel comfortable interacting with one another, right? So it's important to connect through other people and to be the one that makes that happen. So if you look at my cover, what this represents is being the person that makes the circle of relationships happen. Stick with me on this. I don't have a literal depiction of sincerity. So this is what we created, but it really does tell the story. Be the one that creates a connection of relationships that are diverse, whether it's different types of backgrounds, from COO, chief operating officer, chief marketing officer. In other words, don't just network with all financial types, because that's who you're comfortable with, right? If you're an accountant, don't just network with accountants, network with marketers.
And right? I also want to add, and if you're in a big company or a place that has echelon, don't just brown nose to people at the top.
No, correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Find your tribe, right?
Well, yeah, find your tribe. Your best friend there could be the person in the mailroom.
Now, there are a couple of things going on that people should be aware of. I'm going to throw it. You may want to throw up a couple more tips. There's something called Clubhouse. Clubhouse is a new app that you actually need an invitation for still, but it is something where if you needed an invitation, you could figure out a way to get one, or you can get in touch with me and I can probably figure out a way to make that happen. Clubhouse is an app that you get on your phone, and there are rooms that you can interact in, and you can actually find subjects you're interested in. You interact in these rooms, and you actually can then wind up what's called being on stage. And Find other people that are interested in the same things as you. There's another thing that's very interesting called Lunch Club. And what Lunch Club is another thing that you sign up for. You sign up for the types of people that you'd like to meet, and then they match you with people to meet with through Zoom.
Now, is that an app?
That is an app, or it is a website online. It's something else that you need to get an invitation for.
Okay.
But it's very, these things are all, the reason that they do that, I believe, is to make them exclusive at first. But there's ways of getting invitations to these things. And these things are really, really good. I've met some great people through that type of stuff. And anybody that wants to get in touch with me, I'm happy to advise them as to how to do this type of thing.
Awesome. There you go. Being of service. See? Now,
that's what it's sincerity is about, man. You can say it, but you have to live it.
This is true. Well, I think a lot of people don't actually understand the definition of sincerity, because I think we each write it for ourselves. Because no matter what the definition in the dictionary is, your intention, why, your motives, all of that. And a lot of people, don't believe in just, I just always feel like if you look for a two-way feed, a two-way flow, how can I be of service? How can I be of benefit? First, that automatically starts what you need coming towards you, the law of attraction, all these things. I think a lot of us, I don't know, you can tell me how you feel about this, Aaron, but a lot of us, because we had angles, or we wanted a quick fix, that drive-through mentality, we have drive-through people sitting in the front row seats of our lives.
Yes.
And then later down the road, when we need someone who should have been there, it's like this. You can either plan a perennial or you can plan an annual. Something that's going to come up every year or be gone after the petals fall off. It's up to you.
Yeah.
What do you say about that? And how do we know what we need?
So people don't realize the gold that they're sitting on as it relates to the people that they know and the people in their quote unquote network.
So right.
So when they're doing business with somebody, do they really ask questions about families and those types of things? And do they really care when they ask them? Are they being sincere when they ask them, or are they just paying lip service? Because I will tell you something, I think we've all probably been in situations where we've been asked those types of things, and we know somebody's either being sincere or they're full of it.
Full of it.
Something with a something at the beginning. So, and you know what I mean? So it's we're going to pick up on it. People are not stupid. They know when you're being sincere and when you're not. So don't fake it. Right?
So what do we do? What do we do when we are forced in business to deal with someone that red flag goes off and you're like, they're not being sincere?
Well, at first,
I'm getting there.
Sorry, you got me going, but yes.
Okay, but what do we do when the red flag goes up? Do you try to keep investing to get to that sincerity center, that ooey gooey chewy center of the Tootsie Pop, or do you throw it away for something else? I mean, it's a tough row to toe. What do you say? That's
a great thing, a great question. I think that a lot of people think that they're stuck, that if I'm just at the mercy of the market, and whatever happens in business is what happens, and I'm going to have to work for people that are maybe jerks sometimes and takers, and that's not the case. Maybe for now you have to do that, but you should be striving toward meeting people, building out your network of sincere relationships, your tribe, your personal tribe, if you will, of people that are of like mind, that do the same types of things that you do, or that you want to do, so that over time you wind up working with people like I get to work with. I'm working with somebody that I cold called that's become a great friend of mine 18 years ago. My son also works for our firm.
Wow.
And it's all because of driving that sincere relationship over time and living that life, living a non-transactional life with others. And that is something you can't fake. I talk about it in the book, How to Do It. I'm happy to talk with anybody about how I mean, I'm a busy guy, but I'm happy this is something I'm really passionate about, because most people pay lip service to it and then they don't do it because they really don't know how to do it.
Right.
And they're stuck at work. And then, to be honest with you, they go home and then they forget about it when they go home. This is something you need to do.
Absolutely. And continue doing.
And
Because
it's got to be consistent.
here's my next thing, because you know, going back to your 18-year relationship, which has turned into something really wonderful you could have never seen coming 18 years ago when you dialed those digits that were the cold call. Now,
Yep.
a lot of us, you know, it's one thing, you must get roots. That's why I believe in building relationships deep as opposed to wide. Wide is for an immediate thing. What can I get now? Be done and on my way on to the next one. Roots means, you know, I like this person, even if it didn't work out with, or we finish this, whatever we're doing, I still would love to have what they bring to my world in my world. But once that happens, talk about this, Aaron, 18 years later, you had to have kept taking those roots that you started with this, the business you work with now from 18 years ago, and transplant it into a bigger pot, or else the relationship can get root bound. You know, just you have it, but you don't do anything about it. You know, it's just there. So talk about how we maintain a healthy relationship and not just call people when we need something. My mom used to always say, nobody wants to see you walk through their door always when your palm is facing up. Put something in here. Give me something. Talk about that. How important is it? How do we nurture? How do we nurture?
It's like a plant or a wonderful flower, right? That we plant or a tree, and you need to water it over time. And if you ignore it, it will die. Okay. And you can only go back to it when you see it starting to wilt, because then you hope that maybe you can revive it, but it could die. Right. So you need to be watering your relationships. That's the best analogy I can use. Now, how do you do that? Okay. Because a lot of people, I don't only want to get to people when I want something from them. Right? Because that's transactional. So the way that you do that is that you be the one that ensures that they're meeting other people, because nobody's going to get a job with a company or through a company. That doesn't happen. Now, you can create your own job. You can create your own situation to make money, right? Or you can get a job. At a job, there's no company that hires you. People in those companies hire you. So we all need to know people. How do you get jobs? Somehow you're meeting people at a company so that they could potentially hire you. So it's the whole point of this is that we need to, over the course of our lives, ensure that we are meeting people. And if we are the ones that are enabling that for others, we will automatically become people that meet other great people. And our lives will change and become amazing over time. And to be honest with you, you can start that today. If you start, it blows my mind when I meet people, often when they emerge out of corporate America and they've never experienced, for instance, being in transition. And then I introduce them to 10 great people, okay, that are smart, they're engaging, that will engage with them, that will return their calls. They become my best friend immediately. And they start introducing me to high-level people. And those people also return my calls.
True.
It's amazing. But you know what? It's not amazing. It makes total and complete sense.
Well, here's another thing. Let's talk about this. We've got about five minutes. And here's something. This is going to be a good one. I bet you say this. I bet you say, no one's ever asked me that. But it's time. Do you feel that we are being groomed by social media and things? And here's where I'm going. To not build genuine, sincere relationships. And here's why. It's a sketchy place, treacherous waters, in my opinion. And I speak to when, say, for instance, you and I are friends on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, and it's your birthday. And it tells me, oh, it's Aaron Brooks' birthday. And then I go there and I start to type in HAPP for happy birthday. And it gives me 3 or 4 auto responses. And we hit them. And then we just send it. And then you have on the other side where you think they're being personal, emails that come in. Hey, Lauren, did you miss this? They talk to you like they know you, and they don't. They don't. Lauren, I thought about you yesterday. No, you didn't. What do I look like? You know what I mean? Describe me. They don't know me. So on one side, you have people trying to get at you, acting like they know you, and people fall for that, just like old people on telemarketers when they're like, hi, Genevieve, how are you? And they take all their money. But then you have people like us who we had people that we've had great relationships with, have a great experience, a lot of legs behind this experience together, or this relationship. And yet and still, when it's something special, we hit the auto thing instead of just writing it out and saying, so what about that? What do we need to do better, Aaron, so that we can get started from the inside out? Could it be that we don't have great relationships with ourselves?
It could be that. I would say, first of all, don't take the bait. And what I mean by don't take the bait is, yes, all of these apps and such try to make it really easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
To auto reply and all of those types of things. And you could take that bait. It's very tempting. And I get why people do that. But when
Aaron, when you see that, someone sends you one of those, because you see them because they pop up on yours.
Yeah.
Do does it register with you?
It does register.
They didn't even, all they did was hit a button.
And I don't indict people in my head about it. I mean, I understand why people do it, but it's a missed opportunity, Lauren. And what I mean by that is, if you are, and I'm going to use the example of LinkedIn. Okay. LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn since pretty much the beginning of when LinkedIn first started. And LinkedIn is about, and should be about, helping people to connect with others. To be honest with you, in a lot of ways, it's become a job search site. Okay. And that's a shame. It's where recruiters go to find talent. And that's why often when you go to connect with somebody on LinkedIn, it says you need their address, their email address. They don't want to get unsolicited, stuff. Okay. It's kind of like become a cold call. Okay. So now what often people will do when introducing one person to another is LinkedIn has built-in functionality to create introductions. Okay. So it's amounts to a Lauren meet Aaron, Aaron meet Lauren. You should know each other. Go. That's very impersonal. Right. It works. You've made the introduction. You can check the box and say, I made that introduction. What I do is I write out an actual well-written introduction.
You do.
Of why I'm making that introduction.
You do. I mean,
I'm complimentary. It's sincere.
It is.
Now I'm doing it I'm doing it, number one, because it's sincere. It's not full of it. It's real. Okay. You can't.
I got to give you that. I saw a couple, because you did a couple with me, and man,
it creates I've talked with people. It creates an emotion in the person that's receiving it of, what a nice person.
And Aaron, you may not know this. You may not know this, but as the person, because I've seen what you said about me when you introduced me to someone else, and vice versa. And I'll tell you something, it makes me accountable, because when a person points out what they love about you, you now are reminded how important it is to people. And it's like, wow, I didn't know Aaron saw that in me.
Exactly.
Wow. Yes. Because I mean, I'll tell you something. After the first couple of introductions you did where I was in it, I felt like, boy, you better stand up straight, get ergonomically correct, Lauren, because you got a lot to live up to here. And so it really helped keep me focused on what matters in a great relationship. So I want to thank you for that. On the screen, you guys, is Instagram, where you can find out more about the Sincerity Book, or if LinkedIn is your jam, linkedin.com/IN/Aaron Brooks /. I'm going to drop both of those in the comments for you, so that they can continue. And Aaron, where's the best place for people to get the book? Where do you want them to go to purchase it?
So Amazon.com, Sincerity by Aaron Brooks, Sincerity, the recipe for living your best personal and professional life. It's also available on Kobo, KOBO.com.
Okay.
And you can probably do a search on Google, and I did a search. I think it's like available in Italian or in German and Japanese.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. It's what I saw yesterday. I don't know. It looked like that, but I can't.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
Well, we're going to drop those into the comments, and I want you guys.
It's available for the first 30 days after launch for 99 cents. 99 cents on Kindle. I'm just hoping to get it out there to folks, and this is not about me getting rich.
And there's Aaron Brooks right there, professional headshot. Nice. Aaron, I love it. I'm going to go and get the book. I recommend highly that you all do the same. Listen, relationships are the very first square of the sidewalk of everything. We can do very little alone. That's why it's the power of we and not the power of me. That's the basis behind the stone soup story and so many others. Everything that a person has ever done that you look up to, that you strive to become more like, know this. They got there where you could see and learn from them by combining and working and walking and sharing with others. The relationship, sincere relationships, begin from within. Aaron, I just feel this is long overdue. I love what you've done, and I love how you were here last time. I didn't even know that this was coming. It's just proof that we always have things within us. As long as we're looking for something to be of service, it will find us, and we will find it. So, do you have, what's the last piece? If you could pick one specific piece of advice from your book that you feel is most important to leave us with today, what would it be and why?
Yes. So a lot of people think that the value of their network is based on the number of people they know. I don't care about how many people you know. Okay. The value of your network is based on the number of people that know each other because of you.
Say that again.
So the value of your network over time is based on the number of people that know one another because of you. If you are the connector and you create relationships for others, in other words, if you know a lot of people and you're transactional and you call them and you try to sell them stuff, you're going to bang against the wall because nobody wants to be sold stuff. But if you are the one that makes relationships happen for others, the world will suddenly open up to you. Naturally.
There it is.
And there you go.
There it is. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Aaron, you're one of the smartest men I know. This is true. This is true. I mean it. You are.
About that. It's all very logical, but it's fun to bring this together.
But you are.
Thank you.
I really
do own that. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah, it's true. And so again, everybody, I will put those connectors into the comments. Also, if you look at the top of the thread, you'll see that I've dropped the link to my masterclass in there. It's free for 4 more days after today through Friday at close of business London time, which I don't know what time it is. I think it's in the middle of the night. You can watch it for free and leave a review, please. That's what they're gathering right now. They want to know how you guys feel about it, and so do I. So please, if you have a chance, go in and watch just a little bit. You don't got to watch it all, and leave a review. We thank you for that. Aaron, get over to Aaron's site, get over to Amazon, get the book, leave a review. Give the book away, get 2 copies, because if you love somebody, then love them the way you love yourself. And if you bought it for yourself,
leave a review. Reviews are important. Please
yes, they are. Did you leave a review for my class yet?
If I didn't, I will.
Okay. And I'm gonna do the same.
Finally, I got all the stuff done. Everything's posted. My Amazon page is updated. There's a lot to do when you launch a book. It's like you don't realize.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
I did it. Yeah, there's a lot. And but you know what? It's worth it. It's all a part of it. And when it's passion that you're working with, a lot feels just like a little. Call it all joy. Count it all joy. Listen, Aaron, always a pleasure. Tell your family we said hello here at Bathrobe Moments. When you want to come back with something else, just raise your hand and let us know. We'll get you back.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
everybody. Have a great day. Tomorrow,
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need a space.